If you've ever aspired to make a difference, to change the world, to become somebody within your organization that people look up to, who look to lead, to change things, but perhaps you don't have a formal title. Well, in this video, I want to share with you 5 ways that you can become that leader that you aspire to. Let the beginning of this year be the launch point of your career or your transformation into the leader that you've always aspired to be. Now, the first strategy is very simple. It's just simply to build yourself into a leader that you yourself would follow. It may seem like very simple advice, but it's very, very powerful. And the reason being is that we have a tendency, when we don't know what leadership is, or we don't necessarily know exactly how we want to come across as a leader, we have a tendency to look to people in popular culture and the media to essentially model them. And that isn't necessarily a great place to start. I would argue that the best place to start is to be a leader that you yourself would follow. Because if you would follow that individual, then chances are others would follow that individual as well. So identify the behaviors, the actions, the habits, the principles of that leader, and then work day in and day out to make them part of who you are. That's the first step. The second step is to really take a moment and think about who you admire as a leader, perhaps within your organization, perhaps people that you've come across in your readings, in the news, in your networking, in your connections, in your life. And then identify what aspects of who they are make them a great leader to you. Identify those and then do your best day in and day out to emulate some of those behaviors. The third strategy is to write a manifesto of your leadership principles. Write them down so that you can check them every day, every week, every month to make sure that you are following the principles of leadership that are dear to you, that you want to embody, that you want to emulate in leaders that you look up to. And this will keep you on track and help you become the leader that you aspire to be. The fourth strategy is simply to upskill your leadership skills. Leadership isn't something that people just step into or they just have. It is a skill that is developed through the conscious effort of developing oneself and through experience and reflection. The fifth strategy is simply to make the commitment to each and every day, each and every morning, be the best leader that you can be that day by applying the principles that you have written out in your manifesto on leadership and applying them as best as you can in your daily interactions with the people around you. You do that consciously over the course of this year. And by the end of this year, even before that, you will develop significantly your leadership skills and you will become closer and closer and closer to becoming the leader that you aspire to be. So to recap, become the leader that you would follow. Emulate leaders that you think are powerful and influential and that you admire. Write out a leadership principle manifesto. Upskill yourself and take leadership courses. And ultimately, practice day in and day out. If you found this video useful, visit my website at www.johngreer.com, where I have a list of all the different services I offer, from in-person workshops to corporate engagements to public speaking events to one-on-one coaching, all on the topic of communication, resilience, and leadership development.